Hello everybody, welcome to MRW News Show. I hope everybody's having a lovely day. The sun is shining. Mother's just trying to get on the internet. The sun has been a bit annoying today, but we've got our new invention of the fact of where you can do this with our things, so you can do that. It's not a new invention, it's built in, but you know, we discovered it, at least Mother did, and I just like cottoned off. The banging inside the background is Billy with an axe, so there you go. So we've got very interesting stories today. A lot of debates. I think the main thing is debates on these ones. We've got a few like news stories, but some of them are actually like debates, but probably new to some people. So we've got a lot to talk about indeed. I have put a bit inside the description of what we got to talk about as well. Now, what story shall we start with first? I don't know, what story shall we start with? I feel like we'll start with a story which a lot of people might know about but have a lot of opinions about. I think we'll start with that. Tracy just put hi, so hello Tracy, welcome indeed. Oh. Sorry, Mother's just been known. Right. It's okay. I don't mind. It's okay. It's fine. Right, two men have just chopped down a sycamore tree. Now, I'm sure people have seen this.
Well, they've just chopped it down. They did it in 2023.
Well, you know,
They haven't just done it. I mean, if you're going to do a news show, at least get the news right. That's all I'm saying.
So I'm sure people have heard of it, but I'm sure a lot of people have opinions about it because of what happened was basically there's this very famous sycamore tree which is next to Hadrian's Wall, like really next to it.
Gary's on.
Hello, Gary.
Hi, Tracy.
Hi, Tracy. It's very next to Hadrian's Wall, and which was, you know, made to keep the Romans and stuff. There's a well next to it as well.
Some bloke built it.
Something happened. Well, that's a story for another day. What happened there? But anyway, it's a very famous wall because of it's a very impressive wall. It's a very long one and it's thick. So, but there's this like dip, or I suppose it's not like a ditch, it's like a very big ditch on a scale of things, but it must be very high up because you can see like literal clouds from it, which we'll get onto clouds later on, but you can like literally see clouds. It must be quite high up. Now you have actually been with
I have been. I've got a picture of it somewhere, and I think I was just talking to Billy today. I think Billy's in the picture. I think he's walking down when I took the shot.
Yeah, but
when I took the shot, because it wasn't the internet then, this was a long time ago, maybe the internet just started, I didn't realise how famous it was. It just looks a lovely tree and a lovely gap, and you could see the wall, you know, like snaking, I suppose. So I took a picture of it, thinking, what a lovely place.
People would talk about that.
Yeah. You know, and I thought, oh, that's lovely. And look at that random tree just there. What a lovely tree.
And also the thing is, trees don't always like. They all look different. But if you picture a tree, you have this certain image, don't you? This long, this like bit that goes up and it's long and it's all bushy at the top. And that is the definition of a tree, isn't it, as well?
Oh, yeah, it's a nice tree.
You know, it is what you expect a tree to look like, but all trees don't. I mean, obviously there's some wonderful trees inside the world,
it's a very nice
unique and stuff.
Tree.
But it's the fact of this tree is just so perfectly shaped.
Yes, it's perfectly shaped, isn't it?
So here's a picture of the
tree.
Now, it's inside this dip next to Hadrian's Wall. There's no other trees around it. And there's just, nothing that makes it. And, it's all greenery. It's just everything really nice. There's countryside, building things next to it. It's all lovely. So, two men. One, you might just read whatever the names are.
Daniel Graham. He's 39.
39.
And Andrew, sorry, not Andrew at all. Adam Carruthers. He's 32.
So these people inside their 30s decided to, for some reason, to go and basically go and chop down the tree. They literally went and chopped down the tree inside middle of the night. I think the night they did it was extremely strong winds, and they just went inside to chop down this tree. And this tree is actually was actually filmed inside Robin Hood. Robin Hood something.
Yeah,
I think it was Prince.
I think it's been owned by the National Trust for a number of decades.
But the point is, I mean, literally, people have had ashes spread here. They've had marriage proposals, first dates there. It means a lot to people, and it's also really important for the local area as well. And they've gone and chopped it down, which is absolutely ridiculous because it's also about 200 years old, isn't it? Isn't it, Mama?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
about 200 years old. And then also, wasn't it the sycamore tree was planted sometime between 1960s and
1860
1860s and 1890.
Yeah, it just throw some numbers at it and you'll get there in the end.
Honestly,
It's planted a long time ago.
Question it what I say at the end of the day. So
Well,
I could
I do.
just
I'll
throw
have a
some
look, I
numbers at it. But I mean, luckily enough, though, it isn't over 300 years old, so it hasn't been taken yet to be put inside a museum.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Oh, we've got so many trolls on the so
Yeah.
tedious.
Trolls grow up.
You just get a life, you saddos. Just...
Listen, if you get a
You're
life,
so
it would just
sad.
improve the world. If everybody got a life, I mean, obviously I'm not saying everybody, because a lot of people do have lives, but you know, I'm saying that people don't. If you just got a life would be so much better for you, really.
Yeah, just get a life. You must have more to do than go on somebody's channel. You've got to do. You have more
Just
life.
find a hobby.
Gary says there's a few
or
weirdos on today. They're just so sad, Gary.
Just find a hobby. Or,
I mean, look at Beard Weird. Look at Beard Weird. Who takes the time to make a YouTube channel and call themselves Beard Weird? And then he's put, you know, like a sexual innuendo. Do you enjoy holding a wand? How sad can somebody be? I mean, you can't get much sadder than that, can you? And then there's one called Bend Over, another sexual whatever innuendo they call it. You know, just and they're probably laughing away, thinking they're really funny.
You're not.
You don't. You're just really sad.
It's not even like, you know, you're not in the fact,
must
you know,
have
like,
more
but it's not
life
even
than
like,
that.
yeah, but listen, it's not like even like you're not in the fact you're really offensive or anything, 'cause you're not either. You're just literally pathetic and nothing. There's just like, you're dweeb, actually, like a dweeb of a person sort of thing.
But what can they have? I mean, it's a really nice day, isn't it? It's a lovely night. Yeah,
You could be going and visiting the tree if it's still there.
Yeah, you could be doing something in your life, but instead you're thinking of stupid handles on your thing calling Bend Over to try and make it sound like it's rude, like it's really clever, and then you're insulting or trying to do sexual innuendos to a child. That's the weird thing.
Well, we paedophile in real life, don't we?
Yeah, perverts, a lot of you.
There's a lot of perverts on YouTube.
There is. He's just
And obviously just other social media.
oh god, it's just so pathetic. Anyway, I think I've got rid of some of them. But
Well
that's
done for
fine.
being really pathetic. Right, so,
Well done for being thick.
what do people think about the tree?
Neil says don't give them a time of day. We don't, but they're just so fake.
Yeah,
Well,
but do you not enjoy telling people how
she had
pathetic
one-
they are?
She's
Like-
got one that we're going to put out trolling her. He was a former army person. Fought in the. I asked her, put a thing up to say where his medals were from, and somebody had said that he fought in the Falklands War, and he's the army and he's there with his medals and he's trolling her on YouTube. No mental. Nick says, somebody says, can you give his dad's birthday a shout out? It's called Nick.
Happy birthday.
So yeah. Anyway, that was a little bit of what's happening with the tree then.
It's been chopped down.
I'm not laughing about the tree being chopped down.
No,
I think
it's
absolutely
really
disgusting.
serious thing.
Just the way she
It's
said it. I think it's absolutely disgusting that
It really
tree's
is
got chopped down.
disgusting. And I want to know people's opinions.
I think it's absolutely disgusting that trees full stop
Yeah.
get chopped down. And and what annoys me about this story is that people, not everybody, but people are outraged because it's a famous tree. And they're not outraged because it's a tree.
But somebody commented, I mean, fair enough, it was on like a, because we were like looking at the story and didn't realise when we were reading the comments of the news article that it was CBBC, so obviously you are dealing with children. But they still have the future mindset. And they put like, you know, fair enough chopping down a tree, but not a really special tree.
I know, exactly.
Oh, like, no, it's not just the fact that it's special.
It's a tree.
It's a tree's the problem.
And what really gets me about it is you've got to like the court, and they'll be going, oh, you know how bad it is. It's bad. I can fully understand that. But what about HS2 when they start, when all the trees are chopped down with that? You know, like the councils and the government have had it like, it's legal criminality, isn't it? You know, and you get so many people, you see it's so many places where councils have chopped down trees to put something, you know, like cycle lanes, and they've chopped down trees and stuff like that, and yet they get away with it, and I don't think they should have got away with it whatsoever. But they should be far more serious for all trees.
And then on the other hand, they'll be going about the environment, saying about saving it, but yet you're chopping down trees, which is the very thing about the environment, that you know the best thing for the environment is a tree.
Gary says it's a shame when the tree's so old it affects the wildlife too. Yeah, that's the only thing. It's we've got a tree. I saved a tree. I've saved lots of trees. We plant trees, don't we? We do a lot of tree planting. But this particular tree, what's the matter? What are you laughing at? In a tree planter?
No, I've been on tree planting trips.
Yeah, but we've planted our own tree. She's actually so sad she's been on a tree planting trip.
It's just...
Not for herself, she just gone and randomly planted some trees for somebody. And it's always somebody who's got a lot of land and a farm, and I always think he's a little bit suspicious.
I
like some old deer that would like a tree to look out of a
end.
garden. It just seems to me like it's a bit of free labour. Anyway, that's by the by. So, not the builder that has the house next to us now, because he's fine, he's really, really nice. But the one before that who's gone, and there's been a few people saying about things. They built some new builds next to us, and he came around, he knocked on the flat door one day, and he goes, "All right, love." I was a love at the start before I said about the tree. He goes, "All right, love." And I said, "All right." He says, "I'm from next door." He says, "I'm just telling you, I might be chopping the tree down, all right?" Now, he'd been round every single person around here and nobody had disputed it, right? A big tree, it's a lovely tree. So I said, "You might be chopping the tree down." So he says, "Yeah." So I said, "So you are chopping the tree down then?" And he goes, "No." I said, "It might be." Well, I says, "You're not going to come round unless you're definitely not." I says, "There's a might." I says, "What are you coming round to actually say?"
Knock instead of like the other guy who did it. But anyway,
yeah, but that's what he said. I said, "It's not a might, is it? You're chopping that tree down." So he says, "Yeah, well, you know," he says, and this is what he actually said. He says, it's better for both of you." And I said, "Who's both of us?" And he said, "The people that will be buying the house," which still isn't sold now, but that's by the by. And I said, "Why?" And this is the exact words that he says. He said, "Give you more privacy." So I'm just chopping down a massive tree that covers, and it's all bushed at the bottom and everything. "Give me more privacy." I said, "It's going to open it up." And I said, "But I don't want the tree. There's nothing wrong with the tree. I don't want the tree dropping down." So he turned to me and said, "Well, it's on my land. I can do what I like." So I says, "Well, why are you coming round then? Why don't you just chop it down? Why are you asking mine?" I says, "You just want to know what the lay of the land is, if anyone's going mad about it." So anyway, so I contacted this, let's say about the council. I contacted the council, says, "Going to chop down a perfectly healthy tree." And they didn't want to know. They didn't care or anything, and said, "Oh, well, you can do this and you can do that and everything, as in get an order on it, which costs a load of money and that, and you might not be successful." But they weren't, you know, all that about this tree, but they weren't interested about that tree. Anyway, it never got chopped down. I asked somebody, I won't say the name because it's not fair on the thing, but I thought, you need a man to talk to a man like that. So I rang somebody up that I know, and I said they were that had property in the area. I said, "You couldn't have a word." He went round and obviously said something. He did say something. He told me. And he said, "You know, I don't think it's a good idea." And then he didn't chop it down. So I think it's a man-to-man thing, you know. And somebody that goes, "Hello, love," needs a man to tell them, "Don't go around chopping people's trees down."
He needs an all right mate.
Yeah.
That's what he needs. All
right, yeah, because he could, yeah, if I'd have said somewhere, I could have turned around, if he'd have come on and said, "All right, love," and I'd have gone, and I might be chopping the tree down, I'd gone, "All right, mate," I might have stood, you should have been there, I could have stood a better chance.
You have to say, "All right, mate," before he gets a chance to say, "I'm chopping down your tree."
How did I know what he was going to say? He'd only knocked on the door. It could have been an Amazon delivery for all I know.
Yourself.
Well prepared, so anybody that comes to the house and knocks on the door, I think, right, they might be chopping the tree down, so they go, "All right, love," and I go, "All right, mate."
You're supposed to analyse even that time, because you also have the time from saying, "All right, love," so you've got all that time to analyse it.
What about 0.1 of a second?
Well, no, it's more than that.
Well, it's half a second. "All right, love," time it.
Well, you've got the time of the opening door, you've got him saying, "All right, love," and then you have a split.
And they talk quickly when they're doing something wrong, and I'm talking quickly now, so I must be doing something wrong. But
you have
they do it, so he knocks on the door, "All right, love,"
but
like
you can
that.
have another second in between that to just look blankly at
I could say
him.
pardon. That gives me a little bit more time to assess what he's talking. Gotta go, "Pardon?" Oh no, because I'm gonna go, "All right, mate." What? I could go, "What?" Then he can say, and then I turn around.
Oh no, actually, no, like this better be quick.
Well, you haven't already been quick. I'm having to say myself time. He better be slow. I need to say to give me some more time.
No, like, because then it shows you important, and it shows you a sense of urgency. You know, like, you know, you're taking up my time here, so come on, spit it out.
So right, so he comes up. "All right, love."
Oh, yeah.
Right, so I go, "All right, love." Go on, you're me.
Oh.
"All right, love."
Hi, what's up, mate? Make it quick, mate. See, it's how you do it.
Right, okay, I'll do it again. I'll try not to laugh. "All right, love."
That's alright, look, you need to practice. I don't.
No, you're telling me what to say, so I'll do it again.
I just did, I just told you what to say.
Yeah, but I can't say, I'm not going to laugh this time. All right, love.
Alright, what's up? Better make it quick, mate.
I might be chopping that tree down.
You won't be.
What are you going to do about it?
You get knocked on the nose.
Say that again.
You get knocked on the nose.
I think that'll work. Right, well done, you. So that's a tree saved.
Right, anyway.
Mark's random curiosity says HS2 seems to be nothing more than money racketing, so much money spent on something that hasn't materialised. Gary says he's planting a money tree, but I guess money doesn't grow on trees. Tracy says we had to cut trees after the storms. Oh yeah, we had to at Keyston. Billy had to bring one down because it was going to go into the next door neighbour's land. Van Transit Sam. Yeah, if there's something wrong with them, fine, but there was nothing wrong with that, and there's nothing wrong with this one.
And you're trimming it.
And Sasha says, what did Matilda just say?
Yeah, I was just trying to speak another language instead of a sentence.
We're just telling people what to do, advising people what to do. If somebody knocks on the door and says they might be chopping a tree down, she's just advising people how to respond.
Somebody we know that who's a primary school teacher just got finished a course, and he goes, what did she say?
You got, I can't remember, and it wasn't have you. I got keys. I can't remember. I can't remember what it was.
Got keys. I can't remember because it was so like.
Anyway, I can't remember.
Well, basically, we had to correct her on her English.
Oh, I did.
You did. I wasn't there, so I couldn't do it. But I know her enough to know.
Right. Anyway, so about the tree. Back to the tree after I told my tree story. You were going to say about the prison sentence.
Oh, so I was watching. I think it was CBC News, which is American. At least they all have American accents, so I presume they're American. And they were saying that they're thinking that they'll be getting 10 years.
I can't see how they're going to get 10 years.
So we just put you're so weird. You're weird for commenting. So it's like weird. Anyway, okay.
Yeah, but they have called themselves poo poo. So if somebody called poo poo thinks
I
you're
think
weird,
you're weird,
you want them to think you're weird. If you imagine somebody called poo poo saying, "Oh, you're completely normal," you would be a bit concerned.
I'd be worried
Sashi
about your
says,
normal,
"Love you
actually.
to always make me smile." Thank you very much. Well, you will always make us smile because it's nothing without you lot. And she says, "Poo poo, lol." I know in the same way. Weird. Anders is on.
Hello.
Jessie says, "Got crumpets and tea." Have you? So yeah, I can't see. What do other people think? Are they going to get 10 years?
Problem is they haven't got the. Oh, actually, we're talking about this. So they haven't got the government. Haven't got the public on their side. But we were saying this, right? The tree. Somebody was saying it in an interview, and they interview people there, and they're saying, well, there's actually roots going back on it now, so it's actually coming back again. So they're saying that in a weird way they've lengthened the life of the tree.
Because it was 200 years old, and sycamores, I'm going to Google it, how long they last. Sycamores only have a certain, lifespan, which mustn't be like oaks and that. How long sycamore live for? 400 years. Sycamore trees typically live for 200 to 400 years, so it's 200 years old. So what the man was saying was, because they've cut it down, or one of them cut it down, one of them filmed it, they've actually, in a funny way, saved its life.
Yeah, but the thing is, where they haven't been intelligent, obviously they weren't intelligent in the fact of going and chopping it down, but they could have, got away with it, or at least had a bit of public side, because some people would, go for them. It's the fact that they could have said, hang on a minute, mate.
This is the judge. Who they call him mate?
So they're speaking to the judge.
All right. You obviously have to bring mate in if you're speaking to people in Matilda's world.
I don't actually call anybody mate. It's only if I'm doing
it's only if we've chopped a tree down and we're trying to get away with it.
Yeah, if I'm talking to a friend or anybody I know, I never call anybody mate. I just don't.
But if she's talking to the police or a judge or anybody like that, and she wants to get away with chopping a tree down illegally, she does call them. She does tend to call them mate.
Yeah. So she go, all right, mate. I don't understand this, because I wasn't going there to kill the tree. I was going there to save it because this tree hasn't got much lifespan left, and I'm going there to give it a chop it down,
rejuvenate
because
it.
Where he chopped it down, he didn't chop it down enough. I think what was part of the fact of
It's chopped it down quite low.
Yeah, but yeah, I know. I mean, but he could have.
He hasn't uprooted it.
No, but he could have got away with it if he had this. He could have got away and watched that interview.
So if you're ever thinking of committing a crime, make sure you listen to Matilda because she's clearly could get away with it.
Then you could actually just say, no, actually, Judge, I was doing this as a favour because I knew this tree was dying and I didn't want to do it publicly, saying chopping it down.
I don't want to be seen as a hero.
I don't want to be seen as a hero. I don't want the glory. So all I was doing was chopping down the tree so that it can regrow, so it can be here for another 200 years.
Because they're going to say, why did you do it in the middle of the night? And then they're going to answer saying, I don't want the glory. Right, mate.
Yeah.
And I haven't got much time for this. Can you be quick? Just add that on the...
More trees to save.
Yeah.
And then if they said that... And also the thing is, I don't understand this. I mean, I might just have missed something here.
Here we go. Wait for this one. It'll be a corker.
When they're going to the court, why don't the people go and interview them? Why don't they go and stick up for themselves?
Who's that?
Well, when he was walking to court, I mean, he was all covered up his face and everything, but the other one didn't. But they basically walk into court and the interview people are talking. Why aren't they going on that, saying their side, so then they get the public on the side? Because the public is a big part of everything.
Well, because they've chopped the tree down, haven't they?
Yeah, I know they have done. But if they played it right, they could have said what I've just said and
yeah, but they're obviously not very bright, and they've left it too late, haven't they? They're not very bright to do it.
And then
why would you go do it?
And then they went, because obviously people get interviewed separately. They went and blamed each other as well.
Well, they all do that.
Yeah.
I mean, like with my ex, when he starts coming out with all that stuff and everything, they all turn in against each other. That's the way of getting them. They all infight, don't they? And that's just exactly what they do. Once the sort of like the SHIT hits the fan, they all start being grasses, don't they? And looking after themselves. And that's what they did. He rang the police anonymously, didn't he? Said it was him.
Oh yeah.
And then he said he didn't have any chainsaws, did he? And then he's got a picture with an owl with about 12 chainsaws. I mean, we have one. But I mean, 12. You chop trees down if you've got 12 chainsaws.
And then he was like, and then they were, what were they doing? And then you got a phone call of him saying, oh, it's this guy's chopped down the tree, and the person was going, oh, that's dreadful. That's really, but obviously it's general thing, he's dreadful. So obviously they're gonna say, I'm not taking the mick out of them. But what I'm saying is, they were saying that, and the guy's on the other line thinking, I chopped it. You would do. When you're a police person and somebody's saying you chopped down a tree, you're going to go, oh, that is absolutely dreadful, it's ridiculous, writing it all down. And the other guy's like,
oh, yeah, because he was grassing, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just laughed at the way you said it. You sort of like didn't explain that to everybody. So what you're saying is the man rang the police.
Yeah, so there was a recording of him ringing the police.
The operator answered, yeah, and he says, oh, I know who's chopped the tree down. She says, oh, that's absolutely dreadful and everything. And he's there.
Well, the way she was saying it, she was being very,
sympathetic.
Yeah, saying all that is dreadful, which obviously it is, so that she was, just being normal saying it. But I was just thinking that guy's like on the other line thinking.
Yeah. We weren't laughing for long though, was it?
Well, I think actually there was also text messages and stuff. I don't know why they don't just delete these things. But like,
you would, wouldn't you? I mean, when she kisses me, you're not going to get out for a crime committal.
Why is they were all saying, it's on ITV News, it's going global. I'm like, that's not a good thing.
No,
that's not a good thing.
But I think the other thing is as well, which annoys me, and I think it will annoy the general public, and they'll get longer for it, is they won't say why they did it.
Yeah, because that's the
other
thing.
Said why they
people
did
just can't understand why did you do that?
Why would you do that?
Well, no, I think that one of the reasons was the fact that they just thought it was a tree, but at the end of the day, why did you do it?
They travel 40 minutes
I know,
to it.
but that's what they've said. I'm just saying what they've said.
That's just an absolute load of rubbish. Why?
And the thing is, it's not.
And
like...
he's a tree chopper anyway, so it's not as like it's exciting.
Yeah.
Like like I obviously worked with horses and that. So if somebody said, "Oh, would you like to go for a horse ride?" I'm going to go, "Oh yeah, I'll travel 40 minutes to go to a horse ride." Where you, a non-horse rider, go, "Oh yeah, I'll travel 40 minutes." So somebody says to him, "Oh, let's go chop a tree down in the middle of the night." He's not going to go, "Oh yeah, that's exciting," unless there's a reason.
And also, the area has no trees near it. You can see on the pictures, so it's not like they thought, "Right, I'm going to a forest where I know there's going to be some trees."
No,
because he went to a place where there's literally no trees.
At night. It
And I
really
think
annoys me why
the
they
night
won't
they
say
did it
why
was
they've done
really
it.
strong wind as well.
Why won't they say why they did it?
Well, that's what I mean when they were going to court. When because they had ITV and everybody interviewing them, I would go to them and try and stick up for my side to get the or make an excuse or whatever to try and get the public on my side.
Unless their barrister has said, don't you've got yourself in so much trouble. You're going to say something really stupid, aren't you? So keep your mouth shut if anybody comes up to you.
That is the problem. Sometimes I think barristers have to do that because if you're dealing with somebody who's really stupid, you just think
you're going to say something really stupid, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like, oh, why, like they're coming past and why did you chop the tree down? He goes, oh, because I thought it was really funny. Like, oh, well done.
Just like,
yeah, great. The barrister's that's just giving you another 2 years, you thicko.
Say another word and you got fined.
Yeah. It was for £1 bet. Oh, great. You've just got another 2 years, you absolute idiot. So that's probably what...
Now.
Yeah. Somebody just said, just shut up. Everybody says to you, just shut up. And you put a bag over your head. Lewis is on.
Hello.
Oh, God, there's just a lot of perverts on tonight. Not you, Lewis, by the way. Just this other one that I'm reading. Rob's on.
Hello.
Rob says, right, so Rob says, I hope they get 10 years each, but probably won't. So, Rob, why do you hope they get 10 years? I'm interested to know. Because I hope they get told, something happens to them, but I wouldn't want them to be in prison for chopping down a tree for 10 years. Because it's not, if you forget that it's that tree and it's in that gap, how many people have chopped trees down? Yeah. And if you, say if I think you can, I don't know the law 100%, but I think in your own garden you can chop trees down. But let's say you can't. Let's say it's a specialist one. And I go and chop a tree down in my garden. I can't.
It's just right, Miles.
And I go and chop a tree down in my garden. Would it be acceptable that I got 10 years in prison? No, it wouldn't, would it? To any rational thinking person. So you've got to take away the bit that this fact that it's the public love of this tree, because they've only just chopped a tree down, haven't they, really? So I don't think it's fair to take 10 years of anybody's life. Murderers, there's people that go knife people and stuff like that, they should be doing 10, well, more, obviously murderers should be doing more. Some don't, do they? So for chopping a tree down, it's a lot of life, and I don't know if 2 of them, but I think one of them's got children. I don't think that's fair. So yeah. So what's your reason, Rob? I don't think you've put it yet. For them to get 10 years, and does anybody else agree that they should get 10 years?
Obviously it's a dreadful thing, but
what's people's opinions? I don't think anyone should get 10 years for chopping a tree down. I really don't. They haven't hurt anybody, have they? I know they've hurt people. It's upsetting. I find it upsetting. But they haven't gone out and physically attacked somebody or done anything like that. Or it's not even somebody's tree, as in stolen it from somebody. You won't get taken if you stole somebody's car or even fraud. If you fraudulently took somebody's house, you won't get 10 years.
Yeah, and they haven't even stolen it's a bit like the fact of smashing a car window inside of a small sense.
Yeah.
Is the fact of they haven't even took it. Yeah. So it's only damage.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's right in any way, shape or form, but 10 years I think is not right for what they do. And also, why don't they get them to do something like a fine? I think they should have a massive fine, hit them with a fine, because prison, to put you in prison is to stop you from doing it again, isn't it? Well, they're not going to do that again.
And also the fact
because of the public's already stopped them from doing it again, so that's done. So they should do things like a massive fine, and then they should do loads of community service on like protection of things like building.
I'll use this chainsaw.
You could do, well, that's another thing, chainsaw classes and stuff like that, and tree preservation. They should teach. I don't think what's putting them away for 10 years going to do, apart from cost us taxpayers an absolute fortune.
Yeah, you might as well use them.
Yeah, I would. I think that's right, rather than putting them in prison. Lewis says he's shocked that you are both not watching Britain's Got Talent. Is it still on? I'll never watch it. Naughty Boo says that's not right. I don't know what though. The guy says, was the police called from the special branch? Was the police called from the special branch? The special branch.
Yeah.
Did you get it?
Well, Yeah.
Well, what do trees have?
Yeah, I know.
5 years community service. Well, yeah, community service would be better.
So at least they're doing something.
Rob says prison is rehabilitation, but why do you think they should get 10 years, Rob? David's on.
Hello. Hello.
Lewis
And also
says
the thing is, it's not
Britain's
really-
Got Talent is live. Sasha
Yes,
says
but
there's a
it's-
thing that stops us metal detecting special scientific interest.
Well, the thing is, it's hardly like in prison. It's not really like a special bit for like, you know, like when you're in prison, a special bit, you know, like it must be for rehabilitating murderers and stuff. But the thing is, like, is there a tree program?
Probably not. Van Transit says, yeah, exactly. So Van Transit says, what about the rainforest chopped down all the time? That's what I'm saying. And I totally agree. There's people that have done a lot worse, like the government with the HS2 when they knocked all those trees down. And they didn't get 10 years, did they?
No.
And then David has replied to Gary's joke and said they need to turn over a new leaf. So they're going to get all the tree jokes. That's tremendous. Tremendous. Can you do a tree joke?
No, I'm just no.
You can't go. Go on, do a tree joke.
I'm sick of more of it.
Sycamore.
Right.
Well done. That was better than all ours, lot.
Yeah. What's that say? Is it European?
And Rob says no, but they obviously have mental health issues, not normal behaviour, was it? No, I don't think it was normal behaviour. Eurasian.
So a Eurasian owl,
Eagle owl.
eagle owl, has been spotted near is it Burnley?
Burnley. Yeah.
Burnley. I've been actually, yeah. No, never mind. Sometimes. And it's been spotted. Going, you know, around the city. It's been spotted, and this is a very.
Burnley is in a city.
Isn't it?
No.
So this is a very big owl. Its wingspan goes 6 foot. That's right, yeah. 6 foot. So really, if you put it like sideways,
It won't
it could
fit
be a
in the car.
basketball player.
Oh, one doesn't come out here.
It could be a
We
basketball
could
player.
get it in on a diagonal.
And you know, it's core pressure of. I don't know. It's core pressure of crushing something. If you've got the strongest man inside the world and he put his fists together, it'll be like 10 times more than that.
You're joking.
Or possibly 7. Right, so I had 2 sources, okay? I've had one source which have said,
7,
you know,
well, so we've
it's going to
got
be dramatically for
8
the
and a
strongest men. And then I've got somebody else saying if you crush your fist really high, it'll be like 10 times more. So I'm going from that angle of the fact he's the
8.5
strongest
it is.
guy. That's what I'm going for.
Is that how powerful they are? That's unbelievable.
Yeah. So
Because
like,
they're only in
and
relation.
they have claws along with that as well.
Yeah, but in relation to the size of a human, they're very small, aren't they, to have that much power?
And they have little fruit claws.
And they've got little toughy ears. They're
Now
really
the ears
cute.
aren't actually like much use,
Ah,
but they're supposed to be like for signalling to each other, and they're supposed
it
to
must be. They've got. What's the matter?
No, touch of it.
They've got amazing hearing of owls.
Yeah, but that's not really where the ear is.
Where's the ear
I
then?
don't know, but according to people, that's not really. It's just like more sort of like sensors and stuff. I don't know, but I don't know. They call it ears. But anyway, yeah, they have got them. The females are bigger than the males, which is supposed to be quite common in birds. It's at least those types of birds. And their heads obviously do all that turning thing because their eyes stay still inside an owl, so they turn their heads because like we can just look over there, but they can't like do that because their eyes are still the whole entire time, but that gives them more zoom power, but they don't actually have that much good eyesight for close-up things. They don't really make their own nests. They sort of like steal other people's, or just basically go inside. They don't fully go inside trees because they tend to be too big, but like underneath trees and stuff basically. But they're very rare in England, like extremely rare. I'm just going to read this bird watching there. I like one. You just read that. They're rare.
Despite not being uncommon globally and one of the most widely distributed across Asia, sightings in the UK are close to unheard of, unless you're in Burnley.
Unless you're in Burnley.
And then you've got a good chance. It says they've got ear tufts with the upper parts that are mottled with darker blackish colouring. Whilst the birds are usually spotted in mountainous and rocky areas, they can also be observed in forests and occasionally found in farmland and parks and Burnley.
Apparently deserts as well. It's
Billy's
supposed to be
working
quite
in Burnley.
It's supposed to be quite diverse.
I know.
Like, you know, because I think like in Russia and stuff, and then like top half of
Come on.
Africa, I think.
Oh, right, very good.
So yeah, anyway, that's that bird from Burnley. Bird from Burnley.
So Motorhead says Morris Minor or Austin Healey. You're wrong on both counts there, Motorhead. Rob, what car are you in? Austin 1100. David says, good job you changed the subject because I was stumped for any more tree jokes. You're not getting there, David. Sorry.
You know the funny thing is, right?
Gary says he's got loads of owl jokes but biting my tongue. You're all right, Gary, just send them. Just make a smile.
The thing is, right?
No, let me just finish David's. I had only just logged on.
Right, so funny thing is, I go on a lot of environment trips, but, you know, I just do. I don't know how I end up there, but I just always end up
Because
there.
they get it for free, planting trees. Planting trees. So they invite her again, funnily enough.
Yeah, but I do other things as well, like caving and things like that, and talking about Pete. Pete's interesting. So yeah. Anyway, I never remember. I just don't remember a majority of it because it wasn't too long ago I went on the trip. Right. So this walk, okay, which I've literally been on so many times. It's unbelievable. I've been on this walk. Okay, my whole life I've been on it so many times, and we tend to get a tour guide because of the the trip people do that. And
Will you be the tour guide if you've been on it that many times?
No. And we literally had the owner of the estate, or at least the owner's wife and owner's daughter. We had a tour guide, and I've had this, a few times. And again, I went on the trip, and they were like, "Oh, what's this tree called? What's this place called? What's this lake called?" And I'm like, I don't know. And they're like, and then there's this thing which I definitely at least say every time because it's a unique thing. Because this guy who used to own the place, he planted all these trees. He wanted to plant some trees on this side of this handmade lake, whatever you call it, man-made lake, that's the word, man-made lake. And basically he got a gun and he filled it up with seeds and he shot it into this stone so then it would grow. And that's the thing that every tour guide says when I go on the thing. And he went to...
And did they grow?
Yeah. Anyway, and the tour guide was doing it. I was thinking, I remember something happened. And I couldn't remember. And it's just so funny. And there is a money tree there where they put money in it, but I don't know what the actual tree's called. And even now I don't remember what it's called, but every single time they tell you what the tree's called, I just don't remember it. I just don't remember. And there's also this other tree that's there, because there's like a lot of different types of trees. And it's like really soft. The thing that goes on the tree, what's it called?
Bark.
Yeah, bark. Really soft. And literally people were punching it because it was that soft.
Oh, they're damaging the tree?
No, it's just like really soft. It's like a pillow to it.
Ah, okay.
But like you could just poke it at me. I didn't really punch it because of it's a bit weird, and also it's not that soft. But you can poke it and it's just like really squidgy.
So DT says parakeets are growing in population in the UK. Do you have any in your local area?
I'm aware of.
I thought there was some down at the Turkish barbers. They've got a few birds in a cage, haven't they? I don't know if they're parakeets or not. They're yellow. Van Transit says making way for a new trunk road. A new trunk road. Rob says, hello Matilda Hellman, what did the tree do when the bark closed? It opened its... Oh, what did the tree do when the bank closed? It opened its own branch. They're getting worse, Rob. Oh no, they're not. They are. DT says you can't beat around the bush with tree jokes. Tracy says money tray. Dave says, I'm trying to branch out, Tracy. Any owl jokes, I will have to try and wing it.
That was a long joke to get to a point.
Oh no, he's got another. Why did the owl invite all his friends over? Because he didn't want to be owl by himself. No, that's bad, David.
That was a bit bad. Oh, there's an owl joke actually.
I know. There we go.
No, I can't remember it. I think it goes
Do you want
like...
to take a little break
No, I think
and
it
go
goes
get
like,
to the toilet or
I think
anything?
you go up to somebody and say, a lot of people are talking... I know people say that you started talking like an owl, I think they say.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to say...
Go on.
No, you say it.
What? People say you're talking
There's
like...
no alternative word.
People say you've started
People say you've started talking like an owl.
Go on. Like an owl. Oh, I'm supposed to say who? Right, I got it. Right, do it again. Again.
Somebody said she been. Then you started talking like an owl.
Who?
You just go who? I don't know. Like how you do it like an owl.
Well, why would it answer like an owl?
Yours was a bit too weirdly pronounced.
I'm sorry.
You're supposed to do more of a ooh sort of noise. Ooh.
Ooh.
No. Anyway, moving on.
Transit, they should be charged with treason. David says, why was the owl a great comedian? Because his jokes were a real hoot. I don't think she's finding them funny, David. Sorry about that.
I mean, I don't find it impressive when people do jokes, but I'm going to be honest, people on here have had better.
He's done some good ones.
Oh, no, they're good ones.
Oh, poor David.
I'm not saying they're
Sorry,
not good
David.
ones. It's just... there should be really a word for it. There probably is a word for it. You know, when you like use
What would
the
you
word
give him out of 10? If the best joke on is 10, what's he running at the moment? So he can, improve.
I don't know.
7?
6?
6.5. 7. You get a 7, David.
7.
You're not all bad. I thought she was going to go lower.
Right.
Oh, this is good. This is
Okay.
good. What do you call an owl that does magic tricks? Houdini. I don't know what that's to do with the owl who. Oh, Dave, no, he's happy with a 7. He says, thanks, Matilda. Sassy says Matilda and jokes don't mix.
It's just... I don't know.
I think he's happy with his 7.
I mean, they're okay. It's just, I can't explain it, but it's like when you do a bin joke and you always use the word bin. Like
we do that and we howl with laughter.
Yeah, we do. What I'm saying is, it's not like the joke concept. I don't know. It's a bit weird.
That's absolutely rubbish. We would howl with that.
We do. If we make the joke, it's absolutely hilarious. Somebody else makes a joke, it's like, that's all right. Try better next time.
Gary says, lol, could do better, David. David says, thanks, Gary. So David's as happy as anything.
Happy as an owl sat on a tree.
Yeah.
Right.
He's having a right hoot.
A house has been
What's it been?
destroyed.
Oh, destroyed, yeah.
Destroyed
I've got this on video.
by a fire, right? Which was started
Oh, I
by
did do
an
the
electric
pictures.
car inside of its driveway. So the person owns the electric car and it's set on fire. So
I'm getting a bit behind. Just hang on 1 minute. These are the two naughty men.
oh yeah, these are two naughty men. So I presume he's a 49-year-old.
I think he's 49, 39, and he's
and
32. He's the one
32-year-old.
that had the bag on his head when he walked into court.
All right.
He was walking behind smoking a cigarette.
So who's the one who actually did the chopping?
Wasn't it the younger one, wasn't it?
That's
He's the
good.
one that, the older one's the one that grassed him up, wasn't he?
All right.
He looks like it. He's got something to do with the tree there. Isn't that one of those mulchers? That thing. That.
You mean by a cherry picker?
No, I thought it was a thingy that he's chopping. That, mulches it up. Isn't it?
No, I think it's like a crane.
Is it? Maybe not.
Like a
No,
digger.
because something comes out of there. There's a chute.
No, because it's got the cage on it.
There's a chute there, look. That's got something must come out of there.
guess so.
I think that's a tree. So to say
Well,
that
might
you
do
can
both
trees.
though. Nothing to say that it can't do both.
No.
Yes, sir. Anyway, so the vehicles was parked outside their home in somewhere, Hampshire, and
Right, let me just find it. I've got it. Here.
simmering
Just hang on.
overnight. So this fire started about at 5 a.m. on Friday. It doesn't say what Friday. I think it doesn't say a date. I'm just waiting for the pictures really.
Sorry.
CCTV footage
Got a bit behind
captured
today. I've been so busy.
the roaring fire.
There you go. It's bad.
Just a video.
Yeah, it should be. Is it playing?
Yeah.
Look at that. That's in a driveway.
Just read the paper.
So it's been destroyed. Obviously, the house has been destroyed by fire. After the car just suddenly caught fire on the driveway, and it was at Chandler's Ford in Hampshire, and it was 5 a.m. They had to get crews from 3 different fire stations. That's a lot of crews, isn't it?
That's 3 different fires. I don't know.
It spewed black smoke everywhere. Obviously, the front of the house has been severely damaged. The windows were blown out and bricks and woodwork stained. Several roof tiles are gone, and there's only one van on the driveway that's recognisable. The other vehicles on the driveway are completely unrecognisable. They're that badly burnt.
Now, what is that then?
And it said they were crews from Eastleigh, Redbridge and St Mary's were alerted shortly before AM when multiple 999 calls, can you imagine how many they got through, were made into the control room reporting the blaze.
Well, the thing is, obviously, like, you know, somebody report it, but if you don't see people, like, reporting it, and you've got the time...
And they'd come into your house, your next door, and thinking, oh my God, that's getting a bit close. There's somebody knocking on them. Somebody knocking on your somebody knocking your house.
Every time
your house might
get car is near.
Your house might get burnt down, knocking on your door, and you're going, all right, mate, I ain't got long for this.
Better make it quick, mate.
Yeah, you better make it quick, mate. Excuse me.
But pass on to another story. So obviously that is a dreadful thing, obviously. But I mean, we're saying about the fact of it.
Yeah, but nobody was hurt. Well,
nobody was hurt.
So you know, it's not good, but nobody was hurt.
Yeah. And it's a fact of obviously the electric car, because obviously there's such severe fires inside of them and the heat they get to, and the fact that they usually do set on fire, and the fact that they're really hard to put out. But inside governments, you know, where House of Parliament is.
This is pretty unbelievable. MPs are now being told they won't be able to use electric vehicle chargers in Westminster's new Palace Yard due to health and safety fears.
So the people
who
are saying, right, let's everybody get electric car charging, are not actually putting it inside their buildings just so they don't have another Guy Fawkes.
I find that.
I find it quite, it's obviously ridiculous, and it's bad, but it's quite funny the fact of, you know, somebody went to blow up Parliament and, like, you know.
I know, but I just
find it... that's funny though, like.
Well, no, I just find it quite incredible
you know,
that
Guy Fawkes night,
all the people have been saying about this and saying, you know, the health and safety, and other people have been saying things like, oh, well, you know, all cars explode. Well, yeah, petrol and diesel, well, diesel not as much as petrol, obviously, but they can put them out, can't they? It's the intensity of the heat and the fire people trying to put them out, and they fire, don't they? So they've all been going on about this, and they've been called conspiracy theories, idiot, tinfoil hat wearers, don't be so stupid, all this lot, climate deniers, everything. And then they go, oh, by the way, yeah, we're not having them.
a lot of the people have been saying the fact of, like, all these conspiracy theories inside the end, like downtime, it might not be in that, so it might not be in that year, it might be conspiracy theory, but you go down a few years inside the line and everybody's like, oh my God, that's dreadful, you know, it's ridiculous, and you know, they always come out to be true. Yet they haven't found out whether the world's flat yet.
Tracy says, don't talk to me about fires either. Paul says, Paul's on, barking mad. Did they find out why they thought it would be a good idea to chop down a random tree? DT says, no, I don't. They've not said, which is, I find quite annoying. Oh God. Tony says, what do you call a donkey with 3 legs? You'll like this joke. You'll like this joke. A wonky. Told you she'd like that one. Well done, Tony. Van Sanders, it says they would check out their family tree. And Sasha says you can't, they chopped it down.
What?
He says, Van Sanders says I would check out their family tree, and Sasha says you can't, they chopped it down. DT says the thing in the photo is a telehandler, so you're right. It's a digger with a telescopic reach. Yeah, but why has he got a chute then? Can it do 2 jobs or not? David says, why did the electric car break up with the petrol car? It felt the relationship was just too exhausting. Gary says, what car make was it? It didn't say, actually. Just it says electric. That's all it said. Oh, Sashi says Tesla, though. David says, how do you make electric cars greet each other? What's up, mate? And she's not going to get that. Just watch the face, David. I'm not even going to explain that one to her. Dave says, hello, Matilda and Jane and everyone. We'll have to watch the rest later. Has been up to Bassenthwaite today. Oh, you had a good day, Dave. Gary says, I will stick to my gas-guzzling Audi. Can't stand electric cars. I'm sticking to... Well, mine's not a guzzling. It's a micro. So, we've done a bit of mechanicking today, which I will tell you later. You'll be very impressed with us. Sasha says, Gary, them Audis cost a fortune. David says, shocking news. Gary says, you're right, mine's tuned to 500 brake horse. Is that real? That's a lot of brake horse. Is that real, Gary?
Yeah.
I think I might. It's probably about 60.
It does its job.
It's not going to keep up with Gary though. Man Transit says, I identify as a conspiracy theorist. My pronouns are I told you so. Sasha says, nice mate. Mine is only 225 only. I think ours is about 70, Sasha. Rob, going to spoil the fun. My electric car is running lovely. Love it.
Just wait, mate.
You won't be saying that when it burns your house
Have you got
down.
house insurance?
Yeah, make sure you've got house insurance. Don't park it near, and don't park it near anybody, you know.
Don't park in the house's parliament because they don't want it.
Yeah, and neither do we. So just be careful where you park it.
She's actually just put it somewhere. But it's like, oh no, actually they have to put it, I have to, like, when it sets on fire.
Just concrete round it,
I think
Rob.
they have to actually, once it's done that, they have to put it inside like a field where it's like miles and miles of nothing there while it, like, for weeks on end.
Yeah. So just be careful, Rob.
Get another car for when your car sets on fire and you don't have a car.
Yeah.
But
But don't park it near it, whatever you do, because he'll set that on fire as well.
So all in all,
just all in all, Cal says, Cal's on, I have missed most of it. Yes, you have. Gary says, yes, an Audi R5 3 stock, it's 400 and I've upped it to 500. Oh, well done, Gary. That's fair. You see,
Yeah, but he could just
say,
like-
Rob, I mean, look at the enjoyment. You've got your electric car, which
You
have to-
can't
you
open it.
can't sleep at night. You can't touch it. You can't do any electrical work on it. You can't enjoy it. Now look at me and Gary today.
You can't hear it.
You can't. Yeah.
You just hear this annoying.
So we've mended our own car, which is an impossibility for Rob.
Do an absolute fortune.
Of course, you're an absolute fortune, and you have to take it to somewhere which, you know, nobody can go near, can they? They have to cordon it off and everything. So we've mended that. We've had the enjoyment of that today. Gary's had the enjoyment of putting his Audi car, 400 to 500 horsepower. I mean, imagine when he turns that on and he hears it. So he hears rum like that.
And he turns up and goes.
And Rob turns his on and goes. And then he's got, and Gary knows when he turns it on, he can just get in it and drive. Rob turns his switch, and he's got to see whether it's self-combust or not.
Right, of having, you know, like, right, so you've got, you know, a person who is like built like a brick house, and you know, just like the most toughest
SHAT house. She didn't swear.
biggest person ever, and then you've got a dweeb that comments on people's YouTube channels and puts really idiot, pathetic things.
Yeah,
it's like the different levels. They're quite different. Think of the things you do with that level. Think of the things you do with that level.
Yeah, so well done, Gary. It'd be quite exciting to send a picture of that. Sasha says, if you're in Bradford sometime, you'll have to let me drive it. I think you'll get through Bradford pretty quickly, Sasha. And Andy says, the police knocked on my door and said that my dog had chased a man on a bicycle. I said he must be joking, my dog doesn't have a bicycle. That's funny, Anders. Oh, that's quite funny. Oh, poor David's gonna be thinking, oh my god, they're loving these other jokes. Sorry,
you have to
David.
get the scheme. We have a certain personality, and you have to understand the joke, what we find funny, and it'll be all right.
Robert
You
says,
just
why is
work
the
it
camera
out.
focused on one person in a dialogue? Please explain. The fact of the matter is, I don't want to do it, but Matilda won't do it on her own, so she gets me to come in with her, and I don't want to be on camera.
And before you say about what height of the camera is, because I've seen other people, it's on a steering wheel.
Yeah, we don't have much reception around here, so you're not watching like GB News or anything like that. It's just what it is.
Though I was actually sometimes in news shows.
Oh,
though,
the GB News is filming the other night. They were all over, weren't they?
I mean, Jimmy is brilliant and stuff, but
That was
sometimes
much better. That
Well,
was
the thing
much
is,
better.
it's not just GB News, it's like all news shows like the BBC. Like, I just find it shocking sometimes what they're filming things. But I was watching one about the fact of this tree. It was an American one, and they were literally inside the place where they do all the research, you know, on the computers and stuff. And they were just sort of like inside this room full of other people. They're all doing the work, and I'm like, "Where's your studio?" You know, I'm just like, what? They just seem to have so much space for people to study the news instead of the space to show the news.
Sasha likes Anders' jokes. I thought it was very funny, Anders. Well done. DC says the government don't want farmland or electric cars or bikes, but they do want our money to have big parties invest in electric buses. Well, we're going to go on about 57 million of our taxes that the government are spending in a minute on the next story. Carl says, I dropped the lorry off at Scania Sheffield yesterday and they gave me an electric... Oh, they didn't, did the Carl? Have you got over it?
What happened?
I was 20 minutes in the car before I could make it move. He's dropped the Scania off and they gave... Can you imagine going from a Scania wagon into an electric courtesy car?
It's just...
A courtesy car.
Was it like a wagon driver thing where if they go...
I dropped the lorry off at Scania Sheffield. I don't know, maybe he ran out of hours or something.
Is it if, like, you drop off your wagon and you get a car to drive home in or something?
Yeah. Oh dear. Tony says, why was the Arab angry? Because his camel had the hump. Gary says, the neighbours don't like it when I go at 6 in the morning. It's quite loud. I bet they don't.
At least they can respect it.
Our wagon is really loud, isn't it, Vera?
Yeah, but Vera's got such a unique sound.
It sounds beautiful.
Vera's,
I mean, that's
hers is music.
You just enjoy it, and when you're going like up a hill or anything, the turbo dumps and it goes like that. I love it like that when you change gears, doesn't it? You can have the windows open to listen to it go.
Well, Vera,
like you won't get that enjoyment with electric cars. But just quickly back to Gary's thing. What we do, Gary, is because we like our neighbours, we turn it round so that it's all ready to go, and we make sure we've got everything in her if we're going early, don't we? Because she's so loud, and we just start her off and drive off straight away, don't we?
But the thing is about Vera, she's so unique as well because of her wagon doors. I mean, this is a Volkswagen LT thing, but especially Vera's. You can hear her door from a mile away, and you know it's her door. Yeah. Don't you?
Yeah.
We never found out what happened, but we were inside the garden. I heard the door go, and somebody, I don't know what they did, but whether they did go into the wagon or not, but I saw them drive away. But I knew it was Vera. I knew it was Vera because I could hear the wagon door. You know, Vera's just got such a unique wagon door noise.
But she sounds beautiful.
Oh, as well,
For
yeah.
a 34-year-old wagon, she sounds absolutely amazing. But her
gear stick even has a noise when you move it. It has a specific noise to it.
Where we live, we have a community thing, and we had to go on time. We were going to pick something. We arranged to get some logs, hadn't we? And we were meeting somebody, so we had to go. And there were 3 old dears, weren't they, behind? And I'm at the side, nowhere near the wagon. And I'm going to tell her, I can't start her. And she's going, just start her, she'll be fine. She's going, I can't start her. Because the noise is unbelievable.
And then they just sort of shoveled her.
They just shove you and they're patting outside this community centre for half an hour. 30 seconds of Vera starting, and they were soon through the doorway.
You want to get somebody in that door?
If you want to get someone in the doorway, just start Vera up.
It's like coming at them. Always works. Never failed us yet. I mean, we didn't actually need to go anywhere.
Oh, Tracy's got to go.
Oh.
See you later, Tracy.
Goodbye, Tracy. Have a wonderful
Sassy
night.
has not watched news for a long time. Rob says, Jane, you will be surprised how nice it is. Yes, you're right, Rob. I'd be extremely surprised if it was nice. It is quiet, but that's not what a car's about, Rob. It's got everything you want.
That's called accidents.
Fridge.
Quietness.
Oh, your fridge.
We've
got a fridge in our kitchen.
Yeah. Oh, actually, no. Apparently,
bright light.
Let me just quickly say this: just the fridges, not necessarily our modern ones, but I'm just gonna still make it a point. Damaging the old lights. There's this thing.
No, fridges are, yeah. It says a fridge, bright lights. They're really annoying. The bright lights.
They're damaging people's eyesight. You're killing people's eyesight.
Yeah, it's got everything we don't agree with. DAB radio, we've got a DeWalt DAB radio. It's brilliant. So we've got that. Heated seats.
We can take ours in now.
Totally disagree with heated seats and steering.
Just grow up. I mean, sorry, I don't mean grow up. I don't mean to be really rude when I'm saying this. I'm sorry to really offend you, but man up in the fact of like coat with cold.
Steering wheel, electric tailgate, totally disagree with that. Everything, and air conditioning. So everything on that I totally disagree with. Because, and the reason why I disagree with it is because, and this is the reason, the whole idea of electric vehicles is for the environment, and to manufacture those bright lights that you don't need, the heated seats, which you don't need, the electric tailgate, which you don't need. Fair enough, if there's somebody with a disability, they need it, full stop, that's fine. But for somebody that's fully, can move every body part, don't need it. And air conditioning, none of that you need. So all that got manufactured, you could run my diesel wagon. And it drives me potty that they say that these are environmentally friendly. If it was about the environment, you would have 5 colours, 3 sizes, small, medium and large, and you would have a normal radio like you used to
Yeah,
have,
radio doesn't.
and no electric stuff. That's where all the weight comes from as well, and all the manufacturing. So they're not environmentally friendly.
I feel like I would allow electric window.
I don't see why, unless it's somebody with a disability.
Yeah,
fine.
but like you're saying that, but the thing is, you've got old people and everything.
Yeah, well, that's fine.
Yeah, but the thing
Yeah.
is, you're gonna be making different ones. You got two separate different machines then to make it. I just think for the fact of an electric window, I wouldn't put them on the back ones because at the end of the day,
Well, the old people.
At the end of the day, inside the back, you usually have children anyway. So it'd be better for them to be inside the back because if you've got a child, they're going to be put up and down anyway. So I would think that I'm going to allow in the front seats an electric window, and that's it.
Yeah. Driver's side electric window.
Well,
But you don't need heat. Nobody needs
No.
heated seats. I've never, ever in my whole life had a car with heated seats. You just don't need them.
Mm.
That's just so wrong. And that closing boot, I feel like walking up to people in the supermarket when doing it, just saying, "Yeah, how lazy are you?"
Like, just close your boot.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
obviously,
disconnect it. Well, I won't buy it.
If you've got, obviously, if you like can't reach up there, obviously, again, it's a
Yeah, if
different
you've got a
thing.
disability, that's
Exactly,
totally.
it's
But you
fine.
know people with disabilities because once they're parking the disabled thing and they have like where the wheelchair can come out and stuff like that.
So obviously that's a different thing. But you know, everybody else, you just
If
close
you're fully
your boot.
mobile.
Exactly, you just close your boot. Otherwise, you know, if you don't use those body parts,
Yeah,
You know.
you're going to need everything electric, aren't you? No, don't agree with you, Rob. Sorry.
right?
So Carl says 6 weekly check for his. I presume that's for his wagon. Sasha says Vera ? It's what we call our wagon. It's a Volkswagen LT. It's the most wonderful wagon ever. And you have to close. Can you imagine Rob with that? With that closing boot?
Well, he hasn't been trained.
It's got-
He's been too soft with his thing.
It's just the most lovely wagon, Sasha. And it has electric nothing. The window wiper, you have to use two hands because the mechanism's gone on it and they are about impossible to find.
Yeah.
And,
That's not Vera's fault.
no,
it's not the
she's
manufacturer's
34.
fault. It's
She's an
just the fact
absolute
of it.
dream. She's never let us down. She's been to France, everywhere. She's just an absolute dream. But we have a roller shutter on the back and I keep nagging my son to mend it. And if it goes up too far, it rolls back so it won't come down. And so you have to then climb in the back and roll it back
But that's
over.
not really Vera because that was a
No, but I'm saying, can you
more
imagine,
modern
can
thing
you
that was
imagine
just
somebody,
attached to Vera.
somebody who has a mill electric boot? They're never going to manage that, are they?
Well, it's just.
Sasha says you've got a dump valve on Vera. We have, Sasha. It's like, honestly, we're going to have to film the sound of her. She is absolutely beautiful.
We should really get into a song somehow.
Anders says a turbo sounds lovely. She does. She just sounds absolutely brilliant. She just makes such a good noise, doesn't she? DT, the rumble of a car can be very beneficial to the partially sighted as they can hear it coming, but they can't hear an electric vehicle. So back onto that as well. It's not even just the partially
It's just so
sighted.
much safety side to it.
It's the older generation, I'd say above, well, maybe Matilda's age and above, because we've naturally learned to look more when there's a sound of a car. So if you're walking across the road, say country road, and you don't hear a car, because we've grown up with that and that's how it's imprinted in our brain, we'll tend to cross or just sort of have a little bit of a glance in a country lane, probably wouldn't even look, and the next thing is an electric car. You don't bother looking. So it's so dangerous, and people have been hit by them, haven't they? Because they don't expect them. And yeah, I've been to like supermarkets and suddenly they're on you. I think they're dangerous.
And people
well, they
with
are.
not
Even the
good hearing
government
as
admit
well.
it now, don't they? Gary says I can change the valves in the exhaust, scares pedestrians when it pops and bangs. DT, you can see the bigger impact of what's making everything silent has. Yeah, definitely. And Sasha says I can't drive at night, the headlights blind me. I think they've got to do something about it because sometimes you can't see afterwards, and if you hit something afterwards, it's going to be your fault, isn't it? And then the idiot with the bright headlights is gone, haven't they? Sasha says if you were about the environment, you'd have a horse. I'd go back to it if everybody else did. Carl said that electric car heated wing mirrors, stupid. Oh yeah, they are stupid. David says, why did the electric car go to therapy? It needed to work through a range and anxiety. Gary says, don't think I've put the sound system on. I just love listening to the engine. We do with Vera, don't we? Billy opens the window and you can see him smiling away listening to her. Andy says electric heating in the seats is wonderful when it's very cold. Sasha says I need to go with you in Vera. You definitely do. Rob says heated steering wheels as well. Oh, heated steering wheel.
God, how
It's getting
pathetic.
worse. It lights up blue around as well, keyless. It's beautiful. So you've got all that environmental stuff of lighting up.
You realise you're just making an idiot of yourself.
Is that because you can't find your steering wheel, Rob? Sashi says country roads take blinded by the light. Why is it these people have such an obsession with all these bright lights? You know, like you see them on cars and that. Those stupid.
No, the reason why they're so bright is they don't have to look at their own car because they know what pathetic this is.
Those stupid ones now that they've got a whole stripe across the front of LED and a stripe across the back.
But they're not good because you can't judge the distance of when they're coming.
Yeah, it's just mental. The world's going mad. DT says, what's the thing the hedgehog said in the advert for road safety? Stop, look and listen. Rob says, I'm on a disability for my back legs. You can't hear my car coming, only the stereo. DT says, heated steering wheel. You're not heard of gloves. They are cheaper. But it's the lights in it as well. Why would you have lights? They must be off-putting when you're driving. They've got to be. And Dave says, those that have blue lights underneath.
Right.
And Sasha says, Rob has a back leg as opposed to front legs.
Right, now, this is another big topic. The government, and this is happening, but they're putting £57 million into dimming the sun. So this is absolutely outrageous because the sun, I think it was Ben Lear saying this, and I think it was quite an interesting point. Like, the sun is like sort of he used a special word which I've forgotten, but like a bit of a sort of
next to God. Yeah. It's like a heavenly
it's like
being,
God,
isn't it?
You know,
we can't live without it.
It gives us life. It rejuvenates. You know, it gives energy to plants. It makes plants grow. It makes food grows. It heals us. It does so much for the world. And I think the other thing
is, it's everybody's, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, so if you go and do something to it, what right has anybody got to do something to it? Because it's everybody's, isn't it?
And also everybody can have it, unless I suppose obviously somebody who's really cool and not inside a basement. But everybody can have it. Yeah. Because of, you know, no matter what sort of class person you are, everybody can have the sun. You know, the sun is just literally there for everybody.
Yeah. And you can use it how you want, can't you?
And
because you can go out in the sun, and then if it gets too hot, you can go in the house.
Yeah. And you need the sun. And they're actually dimming the sun, which is absolutely outrageous because for starters, England doesn't get that much sun. You know?
Well, they were laughing. Sorry, I think it was Australian Sky. And they were laughing at us.
They were really laughing at England.
Just saying what an idiot. They said they've covered the whole of the land with solar panels, and now they want to dim the sun. And you're just embarrassed. I was embarrassed watching it.
Because they were saying, like, you know, on one hand they're saying, right, everybody gets solar panels, which sure is a great idea. But, like, you know, everybody gets solar panels, but then you dim in the sun, which we don't get that much sun as it is. We really don't. And the thing is, they keep saying, apparently, right, I want people's opinions on this. They said that the fact of that it was the hottest summer last year. I just don't believe that was the hottest.
I don't believe it for a minute.
Because of, I think it was Paul, somebody who's like a researcher when it all comes to this sort of stuff, and he was saying about the fact of that it was like ridiculous. I didn't fully understand what he meant, but I understood what he meant. Was he was saying about how ridiculously hot it was inside 2011, and saying about the fact of if that happened now, they'd all be having a complete meltdown if we just nearly touched that heat. And they were saying about one which happened 100 years ago, which it lasted like the early June, I think, and lasted until late September, and it just was complete heat. And it's like, what you all
I think it was particularly hot last
year.
It's
just not the hottest.
No, because my tomato plants didn't. I just didn't think it was hot. But you know, you go off your plants and that. My tomato plants were most of them went black in the end because there wasn't the sun to ripen them. It wasn't hot. And I remember looking back when you remember things when you're young. We used to, when we brought the horses back, because I worked at a riding school, and it was before all this health and safety thing, so I started taking them out rides when I was 9-10 years old. So I remember the summer holidays, and you used to come up what was called the front meadow, and it was the last bit where most people had sort of got the idea of riding then, and they could canter up to the top. Quite a really long, sorry. There's little things I've been on loads of times and I can't canter yet. They've only been on an hour. They've only been on an hour's ride and they can canter. So they used to come up and the ponies used to know they were going home. So they used to fairly fly up this thing. And
Carrot!
I remember in the summer, that's how I remember about being a child, you couldn't see the horse in front in most summers because of the dust, because we didn't get any rain, and the sun was so hot and heated. You don't get that now. So it used to be a lot hotter, and now they're trying to make out that it's really, really hot, and it's just not.
And inside winter as well. You know, we have, like, where's the snow? You know,
we used to go, well, we in England and in the north of England, as in not in Scotland, so let's say the middle of England, so I'm not saying we're in like Scotland where you get more snow or anything. We had skis, and we'd go skiing, and I remember getting a metal bath, and every single year we used to go down the hill in the snow in the metal bath. So, you know, snow was something that you didn't think, is it going to snow this winter? You just wait for the snow to come.
and it's,
So, you know, it's not they're not any different, and obviously, you know, they know that climate changes. You know, that is the world. It's happened since
yeah,
it began.
I just think it's just a natural thing, and it's nothing that's to do with us in the fact of that we've. But the thing is, they're saying about the fact of what we're doing all these things, but yet it seems to be getting worse. If they, you know, what they're saying. So how is it making any difference in all they're doing?
Gary says how things have changed. You used to buy cars on how they drive. Now it's on how many gadgets they have. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Gary. I don't. We just get classics. Sasha says, been happening for years, Matilda, cloud seeding. I remember years ago reading about this and the abuse that people got, saying there were conspiracy theories and tin hat wearers and stuff like that. And now they see it in the Daily Mail or stuff like that, or Daily Mail, Sky, whatever. Oh, it's true now. Because everybody said about it, or what they call the conspiracy theories. Oh, that's not true. Oh, it's in the Daily Mail. That is true. You know, it's just what people think it.
But I didn't bring my book.
Sasha says vitamin D is essential. Rob says he had bad legs and back.
Somebody was saying who did a TV show for Channel 4 when they went off to the other country and like went through the journey. Anyway, basically they were saying about the fact of, they were talking about this topic, and they were saying that they were actually they had to start taking tablets because of when they were going to university. They were getting such limited amounts of sun because the sun was like barely out, and then we're just dimming it.
Well, DT says here we've only got 3 good days of sun as it is. Dave says daft that they want solar panels and dim the sun. It's just mental. Sachi says used to have conversations with my ex about the chemtrails. Carl says what about 1976? Rob says will Matilda come to a review on my car? I think I can answer for her, Rob. I don't think she's any chance she'll go anywhere near an electric car. Sassy says, Jane, you just admitted you were a kid. You were a kid when horses were around. I don't really get that, Sasha. Explain that and I'll answer it. Gary says, good to see Matilda's getting good on a horse riding, trotting in the last video. Yes, she was. David says it's just solar cycles. We are in a warm period. And that's what I was trying to say before. Yeah, David, that they say it's just how it is. DT says, Sasha, no, moved when I was younger due to work for the family. And Sasha says cloud seeding happened in World War II. And David, thank you so much. You're a superstar.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you for that.
Oh, he says, give him a laugh. He says, can I buy a laugh with my funny money? Give him a laugh.
You're fake laughing. Oh, no.
Thanks, David. You're a superstar. Sasha says, my mate may look into cannabis medica. Kerry says, I love a tanning bed. I've never been on a tanning bed.
But the thing is, like, we had the ice age, you know, like, it just happens. It's probably the other way around. So we've gone through the cold spell, and now we're going to go through a hot
and then
spell.
Sasha says, Jane just saying how old you are, my love. I'm too old, Sasha. Old. I'm knackered.
Yeah, she's got too much work for an age, to be fair. Do you want to read a bit of that? I forgot my book.
Do you want to get it?
Yeah,
Will you be
I'll be
quick,
back
won't
inside
you?
a sec. Just wait, be patient. I forgot my book, which I've got important material and stuff like that.
So be really quick, run.
I'm running.
Go on.
We'll see.
Matilda.
Got back left.
So anyway, she's gone off again. So it's the called geoengineering, and they're giving, our government is giving 57 million to the ARIA, which is the Advanced Research and Innovation Agency. They do write some crap, don't they? And a technology aims to reflect sunshine back into the atmosphere. And it's going to be small-scale experiments, first of all, which will model the impacts of geoengineering on the climate. This is just madness. By testing things like sun-reflecting particles in the stratosphere, this one is just mental. Thickening Arctic sea ice. They must think we're stupid.
Nobody moves over there. obviously the polar bears and the
Which, that's a joke, by the way.
obviously, I know.
Making clouds,
They're very important,
clouds
you know.
more reflective. I've never heard of anything so crap. And then Professor Stuart Hesseldine, he's the Professor of Carbon Capture and Storage at the University of Edinburgh. They just think up these names. How many professors have they got if they've got one for carbon capture and storage?
But obviously
they said the research is needed.
But you know the how do you pronounce it again?
Ozone layer.
Ozone layer. They're saying that this is going to actually damage it, but the ozone layer is doing the exact thing that they're like basically trying to do. And the ozone layer actually got damaged not so long ago. I think it was 1970s from things like fridges.
Used to be aerosols. We started having aerosols. I think it was about the 1980s. You know, like deodorant. They had it in their CFCs, and they were banned because of it.
So it's only really just healing itself, because obviously it takes a few years to repair itself, which you could say, I mean, I don't know, like, whether that's the fact of it's all changing because it's getting healed, I don't know. But they're, like, doing that job of the ozone layer, but yet the damage in the ozone layer, which the ozone layer is a natural thing, we need the ozone layer, and they're, like, damaging it, you know.
Oh, Sasha, this is still beautiful. Thank you so much, Sasha. David says, now your chance, Jayne. Take it away. Now's your chance. I don't like doing it. Sasha says, the sun is what we need to survive. They're spraying us with heavy metals. Sasha says, not that hole in the ozone layer. Van Transit, what could possibly go wrong? Exactly.
And also the thing is...
DT says, it sounds more like an excuse at keeping money hidden away from themselves and not put it into schools and NHS. Sasha says volcanoes emit more CO2 than we could ever admit. I've forgotten the name of it, Sasha, but they said about, somebody will tell me, about a massive volcano that erupted, and even that, which we couldn't put as much into the atmosphere, didn't change the temperature of the earth. That's what the scientists that we were watching were trying to explain, that they can't, the amount they're putting in couldn't change it, and if they did change it, it'd change it for such a minimal time it wouldn't have any effect. So basically you're getting a load of chemicals for absolutely no reason whatsoever.
And apparently it's supposed to only go half a degree.
Yeah, that's it.
So this is half a degree. So imagine if it was 31 degrees
and it's not long term,
then it'd be half than that. And the other thing is, obviously if they're spraying this into clouds, obviously clouds move, you know, wind and all that. So basically we're going to spray it, and not too long it's going to be inside Russia, you know.
Surely,
which I'm sure they don't want it any colder.
I'm sure that people, they've got to start.
And the thing is,
going against
this is the thing which is going to affect everybody,
madness.
like literally everybody. So really, if everybody has their opinion, if one person disagrees, which they're gonna do, because I'm gonna disagree with it, everybody agrees.
We need to write to our MPs.
And then basically, you're being forced to have these chemicals in you, aren't
exactly.
you?
I don't want them.
And the thing is, right? So to do this, it takes. Let me just finish.
Shall I read this bit, because it's just. This is just madness. So they said a potential solution is marine cloud brightening, in which boats would release sea salt particles into the sky to increase clouds' ability to reflect sunlight. So if they're going to release that into the sky, they've got to do force. So that's more energy wasted, isn't it? And a third idea is seeding cirrus clouds in the upper atmosphere to allow more heat to escape into space. They're just mental. So we are being run by a complete lunatic asylum.
Read what that says.
Modified. They're going to... Oh, Jesus.
So in order to do this, right, if they did do it, now this is like a rough study from Paul.
Paul?
No,
it's just their mate. Paul.
What's his special
I love that. This is a study from Paul. He's climate researcher Paul Burgess.
Paul says that this would take 6,120 jumbo jets to do. So, I mean, literally, the climate problems you're going to have from them is absolutely outrageous. I mean, can you imagine all that fuel flying at about 20 or 30,000 feet inside the sky? So they've got to get up there.
They've got to go higher than what they would normally cruise at.
Yeah. And
each one would use 50 tons
of
fuel,
which is a day, and third of a million.
3 to 5 trillion pounds to do it a year.
And then into the air, you know, like, you know,
I've just never heard anything. Labour they're mental. They really are.
Oh, and Bill Gates is involved.
Oh, he would be.
He was involved from the beginning. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say on that bit.
So Professor Mike Hulme, who's the Professor of Human Geography at the University of Cambridge, and he's clearly sane because he says it's leading the world down a slippery slope. I don't think you'd need any qualifications to be a professor, a scientist, or anything to know that this is leading us down a slippery slope. Oh, and Paul
says as well, he says he says it's just literally not needed. Like, we're not inside that situation that this is so needed as well.
It says it's a dangerous large-scale deployment of social geoengineering technologies. He said 57 million is a huge amount of taxpayers' money to be spent on the assortment, and that's exactly what we're reading, isn't it? They don't know, they're just picking something out of the sky. Sorry about the pun. Of speculative technologies. So yeah, we'll just dim the. We'll dim the sun, or we'll brighten the clouds up, or we'll send it up from a boat. Oh no, we won't. We'll do it on a plane.
But with that money, they could have planted loads of trees. They could have done so much. Would have done so much more better for the environment.
Yeah, and they're going mental about a tree that got chopped down, and they don't even. They could be doing the opposite, couldn't they? And planting
whatever his name is, the guy in London, guy who runs it, isn't he?
Who runs it? Director. Sadiq Khan.
He's
the guy in London.
He's taking. He's
there's Paul, and there's the guy in London.
He's getting rid of the green belt to go put a load of houses up.
So he's all for the environment. So he's making you pay to go around London because of the environment, and yet he's putting a load of houses up, concreting everywhere.
Which that's the reason why we apparently have these, all these floods.
Anyway, Professor Hume, can I talk? Mike's got his words to say. Just because they work in a model or a micro scale in the lab or sky does not mean they will cool the climate safely without side effects in the real world. There is therefore no way that this research can demonstrate that the technologies are safe, successful, or reversible. Well, that's the other thing as well, isn't it? If something happens,
this was the point I was
you can't reverse it once it's damaged.
This is the point I was going to say. We haven't been really out of Earth, have we? Like, really.
I went to the moon.
Yeah, but like, it's not really far.
No.
Anyway, that's the opposite way, isn't it? Doesn't the moon... I'm not going to get into that because I'll make a fool of myself. So, we don't really know what happens over there where the sun is and stuff. We sure we can look for a binocular, but we don't, we don't fully know what's going on. So we don't really know what's going to happen if we start reflecting the sun back. And also, we don't know what's going on inside our Earth. Nobody's actually been inside the middle of the Earth. So we don't know what's it going to affect.
Yeah, but what about with the other
day? And what are the aliens going to think?
The other day when Musk, he set off a rocket, yeah, and then he dumped a load of fuel. Because when it gets to a certain level, they have to dump it, when it goes into the stratosphere, I think. Once it's getting by gravity, then they dump the excess fuel. And so loads of people were putting it on Facebook and they were going, oh, what's this? Is it an alien and all this? And I say, no, it's just a load of fuel dumped from a rocket. No. So the man that does the electric cars for the environment is then dumping a load of fuel into the atmosphere. But people aren't bothered. They're going, oh, yeah,
I'll buy an electric car.
Yeah, I've got a lovely picture of all that fuel coming down wasted. And yet they're trying to charge me, God knows, I think it's £230 now to tax the wagon. Yeah, he's all right, bobbing up there, isn't he, dumping all that fuel? But I'm getting taxed because apparently my wagon's environmentally unfriendly.
The
only dump it does is it's turbo, which sounds great anyway. So, it's just one rule for them, isn't it? And one rule for us plebs. Sasha says, okay, emit more CO2 than we could ever emit. David says, during the medieval warm period, the Vikings lived happily on Greenland. Mark Random Curiosity says, a high percentage of people in the Northern Hemisphere, like the UK, are vitamin D deficient due to lack of sun, which is crucial for the immune system life. David says, then they started using diesel engines on their Viking longboats and warmed the atmosphere. Sasha says, Mark's Random Curiosity is 100%. And Gary says, who controls the dimmer switch for the sun? Well, this is it. I think it's outrageous. So you've got to write to your MPs. I'm writing to my MP.
And also, like people saying, it's just going to literally affect everything.
At least I'll feel better.
Like bees and, just...
Oh, it will affect everything. We'll go, that's it. They'll just completely wreck in the world.
It's just, and the thing is, it's not like if something happens in England, you can move away, but
if something happens in the world, you can't move away.
No, it's a bit damn nuisance, really. You just can't move away.
No.
And yeah, we're sort of like obeying to it.
Anyway, what a wonderful news show.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was somebody that sent something. Just carry on chatting, and I've forgotten about it.
Brian's eating my book. Well, it's not really my book. I don't know his book. It's in my book. I think it might be my book. Dum-de-dum-dum. So I'm getting to a page. Zach? Did I just hear Zachy poo? I don't know if I did. Oh, and... Oh, I want to say
This is it. It was Carl. Going to Real Ales Festival, only 2 miles from where I live, on the 17th of May. Barrow Hill Roadhouse is the last operational turntable for trains in the whole country. So I've just got some pictures. Just hang on. I knew there was something that I missed. Sorry, Carl. I've been busy lately.
So busy.
I have. I was so behind with the news this week. But I knew somebody had sent something in. I don't think anybody else sent anything in this week, but I'll have to have a little look.
Just getting the pictures sorted.
So this is the last turntable. And
and comment.
Carl thankfully sent it in. Thank you very much.
If people like to comment what can you make with rhubarb? Right, there you go.
And don't say pie, we know that.
Because Mother got some reduced rhubarb, she didn't know what to do with it now.
So it costs you about £15 to get the reduced rhubarb by the time you've made something round it.
Well, thank you for sending that in.
Thanks,
Very
Carl.
Interesting. I'm just going to quickly show you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I thought I had something else. I thought somebody else had sent something in, but I can't remember now.
Don't forget to check out my music account because I think I'll be posting something on there tomorrow. And look, I was really happy with this dance right here and all the other ones, but that one especially. So go check out the dances I'm doing on there and the videos. I just posted a music video on there right there, so go check out that. And also, so that's Matilda Walden Music MRW official. So go check that out and please do subscribe. Because enjoy you bring me from it. So, I've got 2 notifications.
Just having a little read now.
And go subscribe to this account I've had for a while, but I think I'm going to start posting horsey things on there. Now, this is blank at the moment, and the reason why is because of it only lets me change it on a computer. Like, I can either upload a picture or I can take a photo. So I took a photo on my phone, and it didn't allow the photo, so that was the sky at the time when I tried to just experiment to try and get it posted, and it changed it. But I am going to change it to something of some form of interest, but at the moment that's what you're getting. So I've just posted a horse video on there, and it's got some horsey shorts and stuff as well, and I'll be posting more on there. So, and also
thank you very
videos
much
on there, so go have a look at that.
And thank you, David, you're a superstar.
Oh, I've got
Oh, well, she's gone off again.
I've got a new subscriber on there.
Oh, new subscriber. They probably won't, because you've just told them to subscribe.
Probably, I don't know.
Thank you very much, David. You're a superstar for your super thanks.
Yes, thank you very much. Oh, and also,
Oh, gee.
I know. I have to say this because of it.
I've got to read the comments.
Yeah, you will get your comments read inside a moment. Just patience. I'm teaching you patience. Right. I have Instagram. I've had Instagram for a long time, but this is my Instagram account. So go have a look at that. So this is whatever it's called, my Instagram account. But the main reason why I'm showing you this is because I've just set up an Instagram account for my new film Bridal Bay. So it's all about the film. It's going to show all about it and give you all updates about it. So go check out my it's called Bridal Bay, spelled like bride.
Go on, keep going. It's called Bridal Bay, spelt what?
Like bride.
I think what she's trying to say is not as in the bridle on a horse.
Because of So please do go have a look at my other 2 YouTube channels and my 2 Instagram accounts, please. And hit the follow button as well, so then we know you're there to support and you can get notifications, or you can just find it easily.
Right. Last comments. I can't get on. Sorry about this. She's taking me off to see if anybody's put anything.
She's just waiting to read out your comments. You're just gonna have to wait.
Right. So David says some studies indicate that the Roman world was around 0.6 degrees warmer than earlier estimates, allowing vineyards to thrive in regions that are now considered too cold for grape growing, like Yorkshire. Dave says crumble, laughing emoji. Rob says go and check out my car, Matilda and Jayne, and I laughed at you running my car down, lol. Well, if you put it out there, Rob, if you have an electric car, and you start commenting on a channel where you know the people dislike electric cars, you sort of put yourself up for it.
Yeah.
It's like me going on one and say a channel saying I hate electric cars and going, I've got a new electric car, and then going, I can't understand it. Why people having a go. We're gonna, Rob, because we really don't like them. There's nothing I can say anything. I wouldn't even go in one. I think the only way I'd go in one if I needed hospital, if you obviously, or Billy, and it was the only choice we had. But I just couldn't go in one. I just do not. And the reason I don't agree with them is for many things, because they're falsely being sold to us. But I don't agree with children being used to mine the batteries and the damage and devastation they're doing to poorer countries than us, undeveloped countries that are just abusing not only the landscape. People are getting chucked out of the homes to the batteries, and the argument before anybody says it, oh, you've got an iPad and all this lot. Yeah, because we've been forced into that way that you can't fight anything without an iPad. Can you imagine me trying to fight something using the old time newspaper? But also an iPad, there isn't anything like the amount used in a battery.
That's what I mean, yeah.
And even though I don't think it's right, but also on top of that is now they say that the Apple ones are doing it ethically, mining, whereas the batteries are still coming from China, and they so Apple iPads, they have a thing where they got where they mine from right through to the customer. They know exactly where that mineral comes from. They don't with electric cars. So they still don't know. They still know that it's slave labour, basically.
So I mean, really, electric car.
So that's why, if you're gonna go, if you're gonna say about it, Rob, you're gonna get it slagged off. Really,
like common sense. You know?
Anyway, we slag it off. You stick up for it. All your comments are read out, as you know. David says a lorry load of rhubarbs crashed on the motorway. It caused a huge jam. Oh, he gave you £2 for a laugh. You're gonna have to laugh for it. Sashi says Matilda's teaching patience. I'm uncomfortable. David says heard about someone who stole some rhubarb. He ended up in custody. We wrote a song about that, David. Not about rhubarb, by the way. Sashi says love you both, all the best, take care. Thank you so much for joining in and commenting. You all make it who comment. Gary says great news tonight, take care. Yes, it was, Gary, thank you so much. Mark's random curiosity says plus EVs are causing far more damage to the roads due to the weight size ratio. They'll need to invent a new type of road surface if they keep pushing EVs. Yeah, that's another thing. We have
more machines being used to remake.
Yeah, we could go on for. We need to do did we do one on just EVs? We did with.
We did it with Quentin Wilson.
Yeah, we did our bit on it. So, yeah, we'll talk about it another time. But, yeah, we don't like them. Anders says, good night, Matilda. Sweet dreams. Good night, Anders. And thank you for your very funny joke. Dave says, the massive eruption of Mountain Tambora in Indonesia in April 1815, the year without a summer. Rob says, I don't mind. I know it's a laugh. I wouldn't have an electric motorbike, though. And David says, thanks for the laughs from everybody else anyway. Well, thank you to you all joining in, because it wouldn't be a laugh without you lot.
Yes, thank you very much.
And just be careful tonight, Rob. Make sure you know.
Sweet dreams.
Sweet dreams.
You need them more than I do.
Make sure that car's parked nowhere near your house or anybody else's, for that matter.
Yes.
Good night.
Night.